Yes, I don't know if this is a good idea. What exactly Vivid has been fact-checked on Twitter after mentioning that he will pardon Hunter Biden.
Following up on the special counsel, you've said the president wasn't in business with his son, but now that this investigation is in the hands of a special counsel, which does have some more sweeping authority, just to be clear, can you say with certainty that David Weiss isn't going to unearth any connections between the president and his son's business dealings?
Look, I'm going to continue saying what I have said before. The president was not in business with his son. That still stands. And just don't have anything else to add. I've been very clear about that. The president's been very clear about that. Anything else specific to this case, I would have to refer you to the Department of Justice.
Now he's struggling to backtrack this. Twitter sent this out like you can see here. I have seen this going viral and a lot of people calling him out, partaking to this. I don't know if you saw that segment.
Well, that all sounds very good, Vivek, especially in the face of all of these allegations of corruption and cover-up at the DOJ and the FBI. So it leads me to the next question of, did you just say the other day that you want to pardon Hunter Biden? We have evidence, bank records of potential bribery. Ted Cruz just said, if this is true, Biden should go to jail. Are you talking about pardoning the Biden family?
Maria, that was misquoted and purposeful opposition research with the headline. You know how this game is played. I've actually been very clear. I've been the only presidential candidate who has been this clear that the first thing we need to do is clean house, shut down the FBI, refurbish the DOJ. I'm the only candidate to actually pledge to pardon Trump for all of these political persecutions through prosecutions, even peaceful January 6th protesters on down. I'm also happy to go on record. I heard you talking about it before. I'm on record going in favor of an impeachment inquiry on Biden because I personally believe the Ukraine war is indeed a repayment for a bribe made, now sending $200 billion of taxpayer money in the other direction. But what I've said is let me fast forward to January 21st, 2025. My second day in office, after we've issued those pardons, after we've set into motion shutting down the FBI, not just reforming it, actually restoring the integrity of our government. The question is the next thing that I then want to do after we've set our nation forward, is it to then focus my agenda on persecuting or prosecuting Joe Biden or his family? My answer to that question is no. I'm going to be focused on stimulating the economy, ending the war in Ukraine, declaring independence from China. That is how we win as one nation. And so, no, I'm not going to be guided by vengeance and grievance. I'm going to be guided by integrity. But the first step to getting there is there can be no reconciliation without truth. We have to get to the bottom of including that bribe, I believe, paid to the Biden family, how that's tied to our war in Ukraine and our support of that war in Ukraine. Get to the bottom of that first. And I stand on the side of leading us forward to a national revival. But we can't get there without first being told the truth. That's where I'm at, Maria.
Yes, after Vivi realized this is gaining momentum and it is actually bringing him a lot of heat, he sent this out. Some of the people he's competing with, they are spewing a lot of lies pertaining to him, that he has no plan to pardon Hunter Biden. That is what Vivi now say. I'm not fortunate enough to have this video where he actually said this because I've seen a lot of people saying he said it clear. It's like a question surfaced when they asked him, will you pardon Hunter Biden if you are elected the president? Vivid response was yes. Vivid is known to be brilliant, that we can't deny. Sometimes we can have a tongue slide, but when we realize ourselves, we bounce back. He went viral recently. I think I put this video out by calling out this insane pansexual. That was brilliant. Vivid is known for this. Hard questions can never combat him, which is something I noticed with him recently. It has been a major something we have been talking about on this channel.
There's been plenty of criticism over Weiss's appointment as special counsel from the folks who criticized the plea deal he pushed through that was later rejected. But now the attorney for Hunter Biden also suggested that if special counsel Weiss brings any more charges than have already been brought, it would be because something other than the facts and the law have come into play, suggesting that he could potentially buckle to political pressure. So you've had criticism coming from a lot of different areas over Weiss. How can the White House assure people that the case involving the president's son is being handled fairly?
Anything that has been stated or said by Hunter's representative, I would have to refer you to his representatives. That is not something that I will respond to. What I can say, and I've said it at the...
You can see it. This is Karine still spewing of this lie pertaining to Hunter. If you notice the White House now, they have ejected good reporters who can stand up to ask real questions that people want to hear. They recently sued her for making that to happen. About 400 people were ejected out of the White House. Simon Atiba took up the decision alone, to sue her, partaking to that. Because they can't stand pressure, they don't like difficult questions. Look at just this. She has been repeating the same talking point.
The former president pleading not guilty today at his historic third arraignment now on charges of trying to use his authority to stay in power. The question is, will the new charges actually change his primary opponents and the way they handle Trump on the trail? Joining me now, Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Thank you for joining us this evening. Vivek, I will say today you did announce at a campaign event that you would not actually say that Biden was legitimately elected. And I wonder why it is you are reluctant to acknowledge that.
Well, precisely what I said in New Hampshire earlier today is that big tech is actually the one that interfered with the election. There is good evidence, I'm data-driven, strong polling data that said that if that Hunter Biden laptop story had been released rather than suppressed on the eve of that election, that likely would have changed the electoral result. That is hard fact in this country. Now, from the New York Times to CNN, we'll admit that was true and grounded in fact, and a lot of corruption that was laid to bear then, that was systematically suppressed. And I think that is the single greatest form of election interference risk that we face in this election as well, is technology companies suppressing valid information that the voters need to access to make informed decisions.
That is it. Few hours ago, Trump was indicted a fourth time, partaking to 2020 elections from one after another. Maybe this is the last one. What exactly? I don't get it. It has been hit upon hit, and the man is still standing tall. May God protect him.
Everybody's joking.
But what's your opinion?
I'm personally pansexual, so I was just wondering what your views on same-sex couples were.
I don't have a negative view of same-sex couples, but I do have a negative view of a tyranny of the minority.